Good morning, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Blair. I'm the chair of the Real Property Law section. We are so excited that you are joining us today. I wanted to first just talk about the Real Property Law section. So we have nearly 6,000 members, and our goal is to educate and provide opportunities to real property practitioners in California. We do this through the Real Property Journal, which goes out 4 times a year, webinars, as well as our monthly e-news. If you're interested in either writing an article or doing a webinar or anything like that, you can, we'd be happy to have you. So please, I encourage you to get involved if you're interested. Feel free to contact me or any of the other members of the executive committee. We would love to have you. So I'd like to introduce Susana Jones, who is a certified yoga therapist and experienced registered yoga teacher based in San Diego. She's the founder of Shakti Urbana, formerly Urban Yogi, and has supported people's well-being through yoga since 2009. With over 1,000 hours of formal training, Susana integrates yogic wisdom with skillful practice to deliver classes, consult clients, and live consciously. She is a faculty member of the Soul of Yoga Institute, where she mentors students in holistic anatomy and physiology of yoga. Susana is a new mom and zero waste enthusiast. She dedicates her work to harmony between people and the planet. So Susana, thank you so much for being here, and I'll turn it over to you.
It is my pleasure to be with you all today. Thank you so much for the introduction, Elizabeth. And thank you, Micah, who's working behind the scenes on behalf of the California Lawyers Association, for taking care of the technical side of this experience. And a big shout out to JR with Richard's Law for reaching out and inviting me to do this. And JR reached out earlier this year to say, hey, would you be interested in doing something on behalf of the health of attorneys in California? And I got back to him right away and said, absolutely, because the health of attorneys in California is on my mind a lot, because I have several people in my life who are very dear to me who practice law in this state, including my father, who I believe is joining us in this session. So hi, Dad, love you. So what I have to share with you today is a kind of yoga of resourcefulness. And in our last session, we tapped into some essential resources that we were born with, namely our bodies, our awareness, and our breath. And so we did a yoga practice to revitalize our systems and explore sustainable ways to cope with feeling tired, restless, stressed, and in pain. So in a similarly resourceful way, today's session is about nourishing our senses to sweeten our experience of life. And as we know, life can be tough. It can have its bitter moments. And so it's a lot for our senses and organs and nervous systems to process. And a common way to cope with hardship and challenges is to reach for something external that provides us with a sense of relief or fulfillment. And often these come in the form of something that's addictive or self-destructive in some way. And we do this because it's readily available to us and often encouraged in various ways in our society. But that sense of relief or fulfillment is fleeting. And it's really hard to get enough of something that almost works, right? So this I learned from a body of teachings known as Yoga of Recovery. It's a huge subject of which I'm sharing just a little bit today. But those interested in exploring this deeper will find an invitation to do so in a follow-up that I send to everyone here. But there's a huge need for creature comfort as we collectively grapple with such profound change and disruption. And something I personally found really challenging over the last year and a half, during which I was pregnant, is how so many things I used to enjoy as creature comforts were suddenly off limits, whether due to the pandemic or due to pregnancy. So from going out for sushi, to having tequila, to getting a pedicure, to going out for yoga with my friends, I had to resort instead to much more basic forms of leisure and self-care. Fortunately for my sanity, I managed to source a lot of that from nature and yoga, and that's really the basis for my company, Shakti Urbana. So in your own life, if you've found yourself, for whatever reason, needing to change up your sources of enjoyment and stress relief, or to add to those sources, you're in the right place and you are not alone. Our yoga practice today is designed to nourish us elementally and to show us that we have options for self-soothing that we can source from within us or around us anytime, 24/7. So this class is therapeutically informed, generally speaking, but what's therapeutic for you as an individual is likely different from what is therapeutic for another individual who is participating with us. So please adapt my instructions to keep yourself safe and comfortable. Our motto in yoga, as far as physical sensation, is no pain, no pain, which I found to be a lot more gentle than what I learned in gym class back in the day. So feel free to bring that with you. And keep in mind that what makes a yoga posture isn't perfect form. It's really a balance between steadiness and ease. Steadiness and ease are some qualities that I'll bring your awareness to as we practice the postural side of things. And then after some postures, we'll conclude with rest and reflection. So let us shift into the yoga practice. We're going to begin lying down on our backs with our knees bent and our feet resting on the floor. As you transition onto your mat and kind of get into that supine position, I'm going to change my camera angle. So I'll be back with you momentarily. All right, and so dear Micah, if you wouldn't mind spotlighting my video here, thank you so much. Welcome to my home yoga practice space. Let's begin on the back if you're not there already. And if it's not optimal for you to be on your back for any reason, feel free to start the practice on your side, even on your belly, or seated, anywhere that feels comfortable to just turn awareness inward. And so perhaps as you find your position, you just notice the areas of the body that are taking in the support of the ground beneath you. Perhaps sensing the greater, deeper support provided by the planet that's rising up to meet you right where you are. And perhaps as we lean into this support, we can just allow the body to rest with the weight of gravity and turn our attention towards the breath. Breath that is naturally arising, unfolding, and turning into the next breath. So without needing to fix or change anything, just allow your breath to be as it is. And if it's the first time today that you've paid attention to your breathing, then just notice what that's like. And as we explore the 5 elements of creature comfort, we embark upon a special journey that unites the 5 elements: space, air, fire, water, and earth, with our 5 senses, with all of their sensory organs and motor organs. And so let us welcome the element of space to be with us, as well as the sense of hearing. Notice the sound of my voice, perhaps the sound of your breathing. Welcome any other sounds around you as just part of the present moment. And then gently scan the physical body for one area that might feel constricted or tight for any reason. And imagine zooming into that one area of the body with a super powerful lens. Imagine gazing into the inner tissues of the body in that region, all the way zooming into one cell of the body, perhaps visualizing what that might look like. And then zooming in even further to one tiny unit of matter, one atom, among so many atoms in that one tiny cell. Perhaps visualizing a little atomic structure, the pathway of electrons, a little center, protons, neutrons. I vaguely remember this from science class. But in that atomic structure, there's mostly space. Allow yourself to take in the spaciousness of that tiny unit of matter. And notice what it feels like to be with that spaciousness. Gently zoom back out to that one cell, sensing all the space that makes up that one cell. Zooming out into a greater collection of cells forming the tissues of this area of the body, which are all mostly space. Welcoming any present sensations in this region of the body, or just welcoming your current experience exactly as it is. Tune into the presence of your breathing now. And gently cup the hands around the ears, as if you're holding up a little seashell to the ears. Gently soothing the ears with the warmth or coolness of your hands. And now invite in the inner sounds of breathing, maybe the sounds of your thoughts. And then very gently use the hands on the ears to just kind of massage the ears around, massaging the sides of the head around the ears. And then let's guide the knees into the chest here and gently roll from side to side. So really slight movement is plenty here, just kind of boosting some circulation and getting a nice little massage between the body and the ground. Noticing if perhaps you feel a little bit more connected to your spaciousness at this point. Next, we'll meet on the hands and knees. So wherever you're coming from on the mat, you can either sit up, roll to one side, rock yourself up into a seated position. Take your time and we'll meet on the hands and knees. If there are knee replacements or any sensitivity around the knees, feel free to do our next movement seated on the floor or even in a chair. If you're going for the hands and knees version, we're going to begin with cat and cow, which can be done seated. The focus is moving the spine with the breath. If you're on the hands and knees, let's curl the toes under to engage the core. With your inhalation, soften the elbows and shine your heart forward like you're shining a light into the space ahead of you. As you exhale, round your spine, bring the tops of the feet down as you arch the mid-back upward. Inhale again. As you shine the heart forward, lift the tailbone, tilt the pelvis forward. Exhale and know that you have the option to sink the hips back toward the heel in order to bring more space into the lower back region. So whichever is your variation. Let's go 3 more times. And if you're seated, this might look something like this, where we're holding on to the knees, allowing the chest to rise and the chin to lift on the breath in. Round through the back, straighten through the arms as you breathe out. Once or twice more on your own. Remembering to welcome that balance between steadiness and ease in our postures. We'll meet for a moment in our tabletop position so as to raise the hips into downward facing dog. And as you raise the hips up to the sky, the heels might stay lifted. But if this feels like it's burdensome for the shoulders at all, gently walk your hands back toward the toes, almost until your fingers are just grazing the mat so that more pressure lands in the lower body, taking some pressure off of the neck and shoulder region. Let's take another inhalation here to traction the spine, lengthening through the sides of the torso. As you exhale, gaze forward and walk toward the top of your mat. So maybe a few steps, maybe just a couple of steps. And with a soft bend in the knees, fold from the hips. And let's take a ragdoll pose here. Curl the hands into the corners of the elbows. Allow your neck to relax. The weight of gravity helping to bring the crown of the head downward just enough to create space in the spinal column. And perhaps you'd wish to rock from side to side, bending the left knee as you sway the torso toward the right. Bend the right knee as you sway toward the left. A couple times here, and notice the space that we're bringing into the backs of the legs. Very gently, release the fingers down to the floor. And as you inhale, gaze forward. As you exhale, fold a little bit more deeply, perhaps using the core to bring the rib cage closer to the thighs. And with your next inhalation, extend your arms out to the sides, and let's rise all the way into extended mountain pose, where we can gaze up between the hands, looking into the space between the palms. With your exhalation, join the hands to the heart here, and set the thumbs right in the middle of the sternum, perhaps in such a way that you welcome a nice stretch across the wrists. Take this moment here to bring awareness now into the hands. As we move thematically into the air element, which connects to the hands, the skin, the breath. Perhaps noticing your own breathing here. Breathing through the nose as best you can. And if there's a need to expel some heat, perhaps do so by making a little circle in the lips, exhaling through that circle shape. And as your breath feels steady, let's extend the arms down by the sides, and I'll turn to face you so that you can see a little bit better where we're headed next. So good to be with you. Let's create long lines from the shoulders down to the fingertips, with the palms facing forward and the feet hip width apart. Feeling a nice connection with the feet and some awareness in the legs. Let us breathe in as we raise our heels and lift our arms a third of the way up. And now if the ankles or the feet feel challenged by this, or it would just feel more grounding to be next to a wall or something for support, bring yourself there so that you can get the full benefit from our movements. With your next inhalation, we'll raise the heels and lift the arms about 2/3 the way up. As you exhale, slowly lower the arms and the heels. Everything comes down at the end of the exhalation. With the next breath, inhale as you lift the heels and the arms up to whichever height feels best on your shoulders. Exhale, slowly release the arms and the heels down. So as you can see, this takes some coordination. Let's try a couple more times. Inhale the arms 1/3 of the way up, heels rise. Exhale, lower the arms and the heels. Inhale, the arms float up to 2/3, heels rise. Exhale, lower everything slowly. And it's okay if it's wobbly. That's beneficial in its own way. Breathe in as the arms come up. Breathe out and lower. And let's go one more time like this. Now the benefit of lifting the heels and the arms is that as the arms lift, the breath is able to access different areas of the lungs. As the heels lift, it helps to tone the calves and send blood flow from the lower extremities back to the heart. One more time here, lifting up through the arms, find the highest point. Exhale and lower. And then whichever angle of the arms felt best to you, go there and let's stay for an extra breath cycle. Here's mine. And all those micro movements around the feet and ankles are really productive in their own way, as long as you feel that sense of general steadiness and ease. As you exhale, slowly release the arms down and notice the after effect. Notice the sensation of the legs. Connecting to the sense of touch. What is felt in the body right now? How does the skin feel? Welcoming your present experience just as it is. Let us now place the hands to the hips. And if you're facing the side of your mat, let's face the top kind of narrow edge of it. And we're going to step the right foot back in preparation for warrior one. So with hands on the hips, soften your left knee, step your right foot back. And imagine that your feet are on two tracks. So rather than feet being like aligned on a tightrope, imagine that you've got your feet parallel enough to have about hip width distance apart and a soft bend in the left knee. And we're going to practice doing some fun things with our arms here to keep opening through this lung chest area. So let's connect the elbows and the palms in front of us and straighten through the left leg. Take a breath in here. As you exhale, open the arms outward, kind of like saguaro cactus arms. As you bend the left knee, no further than the left ankle, and that keeps your left knee safe in this alignment. Breathe in again as you straighten the left leg, join the elbows and hands. Breathe out as the elbows come out wide, the left knee bends, and even just a little bit goes a long way. One more time here. Breathe in, elbows connect, left leg straight. Breathe out, elbows widen, left knee stacks right over the ankle. And then pause here. Let's hold this open position. And if it would feel a little bit more gentle on the shoulders or neck, feel free to lower the elbows toward the lower ribs. For 2 more breaths here, let's concentrate that breath across the chest. into that area where the arms meet the front of the torso, and let this kind of counteract any time we've spent on our computers this week or our phones. Welcoming one more breath in. As you exhale, reconnect the elbows, the hands together, and then bring the hands to the heart. Step the right foot up to meet the left, and then keep the right toes kind of tapping down to the ground as we open the right knee out to the side for tree pose. And I'll face you. So our left leg is grounded, the right knee is open, and the right foot can land either inside of the ankle, maybe with the toes on the ground, or higher up into the calf. And for those who have the mobility of the hip, maybe the foot lands into the left upper thigh. Just be sure not to put the foot directly onto the knee. And so with hands resting at the heart, welcome yourself to be grounded through the lower body, strong roots reaching down into the earth below, and a lifting sensation through the crown of the head. And if your arms would like to follow that sense of lifting, let us raise the arms up in a similar way as a tree grows. So slow and steady. Fingers are active like leaves, photosynthesizing. Maybe we broaden through the arms and soften through the shoulders here. Stay strong in the trunk of your tree. Strong in the center. Steady with the breath and a little bit of movement side to side or whatever is natural, right? A tree bends so it doesn't break. One more breath in. Exhale and come out the same way you came in. Hands connect. Slowly draw them back to your center. Aim the right knee forward and release the right foot down. Let's massage the left foot, rolling around the backs of the toes and maybe curling the tops of the toes under to provide a gentle stretch there. And notice the sensation of the foot as we give it that nice release. Relax the arms by the sides. Our left foot comes down, return the hands to the hips, and let us progress into warrior one on the other side. Soften through the knees and step your left foot back now. And so the left heel is grounded, the toes are angled out, and we have the feet on two tracks rather than a tightrope. And so from this nice knee bent area, let's bring the elbows and the palms together, elbows at roughly shoulder height, and then straighten through the legs. Welcome a nice full breath in. As you exhale, open the elbows into like a cactus arm shape, bending the knee until it aligns over the ankle and stop there. Breathe in again as you straighten through the leg, elbows, palms connect. Exhale as the elbows widen, the knee bends forward. Let's go once more like this. Noticing the changing sensations as you move with your breath. And then on the next one, let's hold with the elbows open and the knee bent. Breathe in and out a couple of times. And if this feels taxing to your shoulders, lower the elbows down a touch. Fingers are wide, palms are facing forward. Let this stretch out everything that keeps us kind of small and constricted during the week. Breathe in. Breathe out. With your next inhalation, reconnect the elbows and palms. Exhale the thumbs to your heart. And step your left foot up to meet the right. For tree pose, let's open the left knee out to the side. And either let the toes stay right inside of the right ankle or gently slide the foot above the ankle into the calf, maybe above the knee into the inner thigh, skipping any contact with the foot directly on the knee. With awareness in the roots of your tree, reach them down into the earth below. And then welcome that kind of lifting sensation that rises through the body, through the crown of the head, and perhaps your arms and hands would like to follow that pathway, reaching up. Think of the hands reaching up towards the sunlight. And perhaps the arms split open as we take in more space, more light. It's just a beautiful thing that this is great for our lungs as we kind of mimic a tree. Trees being the lungs of the planet. We are all one with that. Welcoming another couple of breaths through the arms and chest, steady in the trunk of your tree. All those little micro movements happening in your right leg are just part of the process. Body finding stability and flexibility all at once. Slowly breathe your way back the same way you came in. Hands to the heart, slowly coming down, consolidating your shape. Guide the left knee forward, release the foot down, and let's take pressure off of that right foot. Massage it around. Notice how we're engaging a sense of touch here. Kind of thoughtfully moving sensation through the body. And this is available to us anytime. Gently release the right foot down, relax the arms here. And as we shift into the element of fire, let's raise the arms up, breathe in. As you exhale, bend the knees and sink the hips back as if into a chair. I'll turn this way as we settle into chair pose, also known as a thunderbolt pose. So with the arms reaching forward, see if that feels like too much on the shoulders, and if so, bring the arms more shoulder height. And with your exhalation, let us sweep the right arm back any amount. We're going to begin a kind of free-flowing twist here. Breathe in as both arms reach forward. Breathe out as you extend the left arm back. Rotate through the spine a bit. And it's okay if it's not a super smooth movement, but see what you can do to smooth it out. Exhale as you rotate to the right. Inhale and glide back through center. Exhale, glide to the left. And this is kind of like flossing through the spine. For one more round, notice the different sensations on each side. We don't need to overanalyze it. We can just be aware of how one side feels connected to the other or compared to the other. With your next inhalation, guide both arms forward. As you exhale, return the hands to the heart and just notice now sensations of the body. Perhaps see if there's a bit of a warming aspect to the movements we just practiced. And welcome a nice deep breath to fill your lungs. Make a little circle through the lips as you exhale. Expel some heat, and feel free to do that one more time. Cooling exhalation. And now with the hands on the hips, let us all step sideways on our mats. And so, with our feet parallel to each other, toes aiming forward, let us move into star pose. Another nice way to just kind of get out of any repetitive movements from the week. Allow yourself to take up some space here. Bright through the fingertips, alive through the legs, nice core shining forth. And so, as we take the shape of resembling a star, perhaps you just imagine yourself being illuminated by the light of celestial bodies, being in the light of the sun, being in the moonlight, being in the starlight. This is available to us anytime. Take a nice full breath in. And as you exhale, place the hands to the hips, bring awareness into the feet, and turn your left toes away from you, such that your toes are pointing right toward that narrow edge of the mat. We'll bend the knee, and again, align the knee right over the ankle. So we can look down and make sure that we see the left big toe, and that shows us that the knee is in a healthy place. And now we'll extend our arms out for a moment in Warrior Two, but with awareness in the right leg, push through the right leg so as to elongate your upper body over the left leg. And when you can't reach anymore, like you're reaching your arm across a tabletop or something, lower your left elbow and forearm down to the left knee. And then bring your right fingers down and forward towards your toes, and then all the way up, or let the arm pause right overhead. See if any of these angles with the right arm feel really good to you. In yoga, we find our edge in the pose and we pause, we just breathe there. And that edge changes, it moves as we keep practicing. Keep breathing here and bring awareness into this right side of the torso. And if you'd like, you can angle the right shoulder toward the upper right corner of your mat a little bit, making this a little bit less of a linear pose to bring a deep stretch into the back right side between the rib cage and the pelvis, an area that can get really congested, so to speak. One more breath in. Activate the core with your breath out. Anytime, cooling breaths through the lips. With your next inhalation, rise back up into star pose. Push through that left leg, extend the limbs. Notice how it feels to come back to this shape. Allow the breath to become steady. Take some space. Shine your light. We are one with those celestial bodies. And with your exhalation, hands come to the hips. We'll turn the right toes away and move into our extended side angle on this side. So for a brief moment in a Warrior Two pose, knee is bent, left leg long, arms wide like the horizon of the ocean. With your inhalation, lengthen as if you're sliding your arm across the table. And when you can't reach anymore, just lower the elbow. Torso can stay rather lifted. Left fingers can point down. We'll draw a big circle with this left arm, up and overhead, maybe up to the sky. See what feels good. And feel free to kind of move this left arm until you find the angle that feels most satisfying. More specifically, into a place where you can feel both steady and at ease. Not one at the expense of the other. Notice what it's like to be in both qualities. Stable and kind of permeable at the same time. Breathe it in. Breathe it out. Lastly, feel free to rotate the left shoulder a few inches toward that upper left corner of your mat. Breathing some space, using this kind of fiery warmth that we're creating to melt away any congestion in that left side of the back. Breathe in. Breathe out. You're doing great. With your next inhalation, push through the legs. Use the core to rise up once again to our star pose, this time feet parallel. As you exhale, release the hands to the hips or clasp the hands together behind you. We might weave the fingers together like a little basket, being mindful that this doesn't stress the outer sides of your shoulders. And if it does, you can just fold one hand over the other on your lower back. With your inhalation, let your heart lift upward. As you exhale, fold from the hips, and you might soften the knees as you come down here. If you have the hands interwoven, you might reach them up toward the sky. If you have the hands on the back, you might slide them down the legs toward the ankles. And if you feel a little unsteady here, you might just place the hands down to the ground below the shoulders. They say gentle yoga is the new advanced yoga. So make this work for you. That's really what this practice is about. We adapt, we evolve. It's good stuff. 3 breaths here to just use the warmth we've built to melt away any tightness in the backs of the legs or the inner thighs. Soften through the face and the jaw, the shoulders and the hands. And slowly with your breath in, raise the torso halfway up. Let us now turn the left toes back toward that left side of the mat, walk your hands around, and bring yourself into a high plank position. The right toes are curled under, the left foot steps back to meet the right, and let's hold here. Here in a high plank, you have the option to set the knees down, and while keeping the toes tucked under, if that works for you, you're still activating lots of strength through the core and through the arms, etc. Nice whole body conditioning to hold a plank if it works for us. So 2 more breaths in a plank here. And let's settle the eyes onto one still point. And rather than burning a laser hole through that point with your eyes, soften your gaze. Relax the eyes. Even as they stay focused, let them be relaxed. Well done. Let's lower the left knees down and come down into a seated position. At this point in the practice, we take it back down to the earth and we start to cool off a little bit. And so we'll shift into a more watery kind of aspect. And so very gently, let's place the hands behind the knees and imagine that you're just kind of floating on a body of water here in boat pose. So this is a nice kind of stable boat. Chest is open, elbows are relaxed, a gentle grip behind the knees. And if you'd like to maybe raise the challenge a little bit, let's tap the toes down. Find yourself balanced on your sits bones as opposed to the tailbone, which kind of looks and feels a little curvy like this. Let's stay lifted through the spine instead. And if you'd like to take it a little further, let's raise one leg or the other. You could even take it a little further by extending the arms out. And so, wherever you choose to be for the next 3 breaths of a boat pose, just imagine yourself as a strong vessel gliding across the water. Come what may, you are strong, you are durable, but you are buoyant. You are floating. Let the breath move like wind in your sails. For one more inhalation. As you exhale, lower the feet and lower the back gently onto the ground. You might scoot forward a little bit on your way down so that you're comfortably on the mat. Take a moment here as you release the spine down into the ground. And notice how this is the posture where we began our exploration today. And notice anything that feels a little bit different than how you remember our first visit to this pose. Notice the warmth. Notice if there's perhaps some perspiration, the body's water element very alive, even below the surface. And now imagine your breath just moving like gentle waves or a gentle current flowing into the body and right back out to the source. With awareness, in the right leg. Gently cross the right ankle over the left knee with a flex in the right ankle, a nice dorsiflex in that ankle to protect the right knee. We'll take a figure 4 stretch here to clear up any congestion, melt away any tension in the right glute, hip, piriformis region. You can stay right here if this feels like plenty. You can also thread the right arm through the legs, capture it with the left hand around the left thigh. And now the presence of your right arm can gently resist a little bit the right leg, adding a little bit extra to this stretch. Good. And so notice if the breath changes a little bit as we encounter sensation around the right hip and gluteals. And then feel free to gently rock from side to side, slowly using this left to right movement to just access different areas of sensation. And perhaps you'd like to stay kind of leaning toward the left a little bit. And if you'd like to go a little further, bring awareness to your left kneecap. And while keeping your legs in the same shape, start drawing small circles with your left knee. Think of like the size of like a little clementine orange or something. That just sounds really good right now. And that's a nice kind of juicy fruit that helps keep our water element in balance in this summer season for those of us in North America. And so perhaps pausing if you're making those little clementine-sized circles, reverse them into the opposite direction. So just imagine in day-to-day life, just really taking in the pleasure of a juicy fruit. What a gift supplied by nature. So hydrating, so sweet. Life is sweet. Let's pause for a moment, welcome the breath in, and then guide our way back to center where the left foot comes down, the hands relax by the sides, and the right leg extends any amount upward. And maybe the leg straightens for your body, maybe it stays a little bit bent. Either way, keep the right leg extended. And as you inhale, lower that extended leg to just hover above the ground. This is a practice to hydrate the knee, joint, and the hip. As you exhale, bring the right knee toward the chest. Arms can stay relaxed. And let's do that in reverse. Inhale as you extend this left leg to hover above the ground, like you're extending a telescope. As you exhale, raise the right leg up any amount. Inhale to lower, and let's keep the right toes aimed toward the sky the whole time. Exhale, bend the knee toward the chest. Once more like that. Inhale to hover the leg away. Toes are aiming toward the sky. Exhale, lift that entire leg up. Feel the quadricep working for you there. Inhale to lower this long leg to hover. Exhale, the knee to the chest. Bring the left knee in to meet the right. Give yourself a little hug. Perhaps imagine that you're giving this hug to someone who you love unconditionally. What a sweet thing. Hugs. Hugs are awesome. Hugs have been kind of hard to come by this year, so we got to really appreciate the ones that we get and the ones that we give. Let's lower the right foot down and then take our figure 4 on this side. Left ankle, which is flexed, crosses over the right thigh or knee. And if this feels like enough, enjoy your steadiness and your ease right here. Otherwise, thread the left arm through the legs, join the left hand with the right behind the right thigh, and gently encourage the left leg away with your left elbow area. And as the body gets acclimated to these hip openers, sometimes it's like the feeling of sitting down into a hot tub where you're like, ooh, at first, and then you sort of loosen up and get used to it. Same idea. Let's rock from side to side. Little to the right, little to the left. And if you'd like to stay on the right side and explore some circles to go a little deeper into that glute compartment, piriformis area, bring awareness to your right kneecap, and let's start drawing little circles. And if little clementines are not your jam, think of a really good juicy fruit that is. Draw little circles in the shape of that. And see if that just brings you a nice, pleasant feeling. I know what I'm going to have as a snack after this practice. And then gently reverse the flow of those circles. And however tense or calcified or stuck we might feel in different areas of the body, this body is made mostly of water. And as we touched upon when we first began, this whole body is mostly made of space. So maybe that serves as a nice reminder of how we're not really as stuck as we might feel we are. We might just need some movement, some hydration, some rest. Let's come back to center. Release the right foot down. With the arms relaxed, lift your left leg up. Let's keep that flex in the left ankle. Point the toes accordingly. With your inhalation, lower this left leg to hover. Toes are aimed up at the sky. Exhale, bend the left knee toward your chest. Arms can stay down. Inhale again as you push the left foot away, hovering the leg. Exhale, raise the leg up. Inhale to lower and hover. Exhale, the knee draws in. And this is just sending good hydration, circulation throughout the lower body. Great for the synovial joint capsules of the knee and the hip. Inhale, the leg raises up. Exhale, lower and hover. Pause here for one breath in. As you breathe out, bring the left knee to the chest and the right knee to meet the left. Little hug. Yeah. Lastly, let's place the soles of the feet on the ground and practice bridge pose. We'll turn the palms down toward the mat, and with awareness in the feet and the lower body, raise both hips up and let us create long lines between the kneecaps and the shoulder blades without tensing the neck. Keep space between the shoulders and the ears. And let the strength of your lower body help to lift your hips higher. Steadiness and ease in the pose. And if there's pain in the knees right now, perhaps walk your toes like your little caterpillars crawling forward away from your hips so that we've got wider angles in the knees, and that can take some pressure off the knees. Breathing here, feel free to interlace the fingers beneath you and press the arms down. So we're elevating the heart a little bit in relation to the head. And I like that on a metaphorical level. Because sometimes we just have to tap into the heart's wisdom. We know a lot, we're capable of a lot. So maybe we can let the heart help us sort it all out when the mind has just had enough. Gently release the arms if they're bound beneath you. Raise your heels and then slowly roll your spine down to the ground. Imagine nicely hydrated discs in the spine all the way until the sacrum comes down to the earth, and relax. You're welcome to stay right as you are or slide your feet forward. Extend the legs to just rest in our final Shavasana. Scan the body. Become aware of any area that would be 5 or 10% more comfortable with a slight adjustment. When you've brought steadiness and ease into the body, then allow the doing of yoga to just subside into pure being. Eyes can close as you take in the support of the earth. Breath gently moving through. No need to fix or change anything. Bring awareness to the corners of the nostrils, the nose. Allow the corners of the nose to gently relax. Become aware of the corners of the mouth and the lips, the tongue. Allow the entire mouth and jaw to relax. Become aware of the eyes, eyelids, eyebrows, corners of the eyes. Allow them to relax. Become aware of the hands and the fingers. Feet and toes. Allow the hands and feet to relax. Imagine a gentle wave or a smooth current gliding from the toes to the head as you inhale, washing over the head to the toes as you exhale. A cleansing wave from toes to head as you breathe in. Calming wave from head to toes as you breathe out. With minimal movement, guide yourself into a seated position, bring steadiness and ease to come with you. Perhaps recalling if any particular element felt nourishing to you today. The earth, the water, the fire, the air, the space. Know that these allies are always there for you, within you and around you. Let's place one hand over the heart and another hand over that. Feeling the subtle heartbeat on the hands and the comfort of the hands on the heart. The divine presence within me bows to the divine presence within you. Namaste. Thank you very much for joining me for this practice. This will be available via recording in the near future. And I'll drop you a line to just invite you to explore any of this more deeply with me, one-on-one. Again, my name is Susana Jones from Shakti Urbana, and this has just been an absolute honor. Thank you again to JR at Richard's Law. Thank you, Micah. Thank you, Elizabeth. And thank you all for taking such good care of yourselves today. Be well.